Why did the sound go out last time? I took a phone call in the middle of it, so now I've turned my cellular off and I'm only on the Wi-Fi. So here we go. We're going to try this again. My name is Josh. I'm an entrepreneur. I am one of the co-founders of ListEasier, which is an artificial intelligence software, but also we are building our own e-commerce company using our software. Like I said, we use it. We use it every single day, and we list a lot of items with it. So this is the start, and this is why I call this episode 0. So I'm going to wait for some people to get in, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to do this live. There's so much going on. You guys are going to love, honestly, you're going to love all the stuff that's going on. Big changes, huge changes. But first, I got to be able to see my own stream so that I can see the comments. We're good now. Bridget, thank you for notifying me, letting me know that I didn't have sound. I think we are lives. Where's my stream? Then I can see the comments. There we go. Here we go, Josh. Okay, let's rock and roll, everybody. Arkansas here. Coppercat, good to see you. Axe Monkey, Tammy, good to see you. Remember I said no more lives? I said we're not going to do any more lives. Here we are. How long ago was that? A month? We're back on lives. I like doing videos, and I'm still going to continue to do videos, but I want to do these lives, especially for what we're doing. So, Head Fake says, Josh is the boss. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. That's nice of you to say that. Don Flippin says hello. Here's my thing. Here's my big thing. I really want to document all the things that we're doing, and I think the static videos are really good for that, but I don't get to interact with anyone, which is a big part of it. And you know, maybe it's good for people to ask questions and see what we're doing. And things are changing so much right now for me and our business. It's just incredible. So I'm in the warehouse right now. As you can see, this is one of the aisles. These are getting built out. So you can see this aisle is full already. This aisle is under construction. So I think there are, I want to say 2 more shelving units that can fit this way. And then this is another aisle that's under construction. And looking this way, which you can't see, there are more aisles this way, looking this way. So I'm sitting here in the production station. This is where all the listing happens, and I'll show you this in other videos. But this is where all the listing happens. This is where our setups are. You can see one of the overhead cameras here, kind of beside me. There are more standing here. I don't want to touch it because it's all set up. Here we have a packing station. You can see the Rolos and the Mun bins. There's 3 of them there. These print out all the labels to put on the packages. And there, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of items here. So I kind of was like, you know, this has been now for us happening over the past 4 months kind of quietly where we haven't really been set up. So it's been a little bit disorganized, had to get shelving, had to determine business structure, which takes time. And this is kind of leading to where we are to this point. So I've been speaking with my partners a lot. There's 3 of us. Do you want to talk about this now? Only 2 thumbs up. That's right, Head Fakes. Let's get some thumbs up in here. We're going to build a $100 million business. Let's go. Let's get some thumbs up. This is huge. Lives are fun, says Bridget. Aloha, spam. I missed the lives. I like all the new formats in the lives. That's awesome. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate you. Record Crate Adam, I hope all is well with you, my man. I hope your health is doing all right. Headfakes is so happy to see you, what you have accomplished. Thank you. Appreciate you, Headfakes. Best wishes to you in 2026. You have come a long way. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. You're a really nice guy. You have always said nothing but nice things, and I appreciate you for that. Adam says hello to Bridget. Doug Major Win says, aloha, Josh and all. Looks great, Josh. We're listening in the background while working away. We're using our ListEasier today. Awesome. Do I see records behind you, Josh? You see many, yeah. So there are, Adam, 4 piles here. 3, and then there's another one behind it. And then also, these are all records. These are listed records. Not as far as the eye can see, but almost. So we've been buying gaylords of records. We've been listing them. It's one of the items that we're really producing right now and kind of pumping out. Can you share the eBay store? Will do, Bridget. So let me get into, I'll start with that. Let me start off by what's going on here. So we have been using ListEasier for our own stores. I have multiple stores. My partner here, Dave, has multiple stores. And now we are starting our ListEasier stores. But what we want to do is, Bridget, we want to start it from the ground up. So here's the deal. In January, we've hired an employee who is going to be an operations manager of ListEasier. And the plan is when that employee starts and switches to the books, everything becomes ListEasier. I will be rolling up my business. So I have, I don't know, I don't even know the number. I want to say 43,000. I really don't remember. 42,000 items, 43,000 items, something along those lines. Call it 40,000. I don't really know. That's my main big store. And then I don't know how many other, 5,000 in my other store. I'm rolling it all up. Everything is getting rolled up. All my unlisted inventory is getting rolled up, and it's all going to get rolled into ListEasier. We have, you can't see, but if you kind of look back, you can see, where am I pointing here? I want to point out that way. You can't really see it the way the camera is angled, but back there we have gaylords of inventory that we've been purchasing and bringing over here. And we want to start from the bottom, the very zero, and we're going to do it live, show you everyone the process where we go from zero to $100 million, and I think we can do it in 9 years, right? It sounds ridiculous, but rather than just talking about it, we're going to show it happening. And the whole point of this exercise, or not the whole point, but a big part of this is to be like, if we can do that, then if you just do 0.01% of the work that we're doing, you'll get to 100,000. So that's kind of where we're at. And I'm watching Scott, Bearded Picker, I'm watching him build his business, and he's on the route. He's doing it, but there's not a real document of it. So we're talking about, we talk about ListEasier and the AI, and I constantly get comments back like, how do I know it works? How to this, how to that? And I'm like, dude, we're doing it, but now we're set up where I can actually show it. So I think, this, if I were watching 5 years ago, this would be a massive inspiration. I'd be like, oh my God, this is incredible. And I'm telling you it's possible because we're doing it. Right now, there's a lot of funk negativity with like reselling and e-commerce and everything else on YouTube. I want to show you, you can do it. You can do it. You can 100% do it, and we're doing it. So it's a big change. I will be unwinding my sole proprietorship and fully porting all in 100% on ListEasier. And the ListEasier itself is 3 verticals. This is a fire hose of information. So give me a thumbs up if you like what you're hearing. If you need me to slow down, I'll slow down because this is a fire hose of information. Paul says, no more lives, you missed us that much. It's true, Paul. It's true. Let me know if I need to slow down because I can talk super quick and it doesn't help anyone. In it to flip it says, really interesting watching this newish journey. Yeah, thanks for sharing your background too. Appreciate you. Thank you, In it to flip it. Corey says, hey, caught alive. Good to see you, Corey. Welcome, welcome. Don Flippin says, will ListEasier be able to relist existing eBay listings eventually? I have 1,700 listings. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So that's another thing people are saying with the software. They're like, listen, I have 1,700 listings. They're stale. They're not performing. I already know I didn't do it properly, and I can see that the AI listings are performing better. Is there some sort of regenerator where I can take it out and process it through ListEasier and get it back on the site so the stuff actually sells? It's coming. It's coming. Yeah, we're working on it. It's coming. And that's probably, something that we'll be looking to do with the inventory from one of my stores. And I've got 40,000 plus items in my store. It would be much easier to regenerate that than have to do it all over again. So it's coming. We're working on it, but there are just so many irons in the fire right now, and it's one step at a time. But I do want to talk about the verticals because that kind of leads into that. Adam says, please don't stack them like pancakes. The pressure leads to dish and warps even in a few hours, please. This literally just happened now, and then it's going to go into its vertical listings. But I hear you. This process might need to be improved a little bit, but we're getting there. Sometimes unfortunately, we see our suppliers ship, like in Gaylords, they sometimes ship them like that, and we can see that they're warped and all messed up. Doug says, you're a reinvention in motion right now, Josh. It's fun to watch the ride. Let me know if I need to slow down, everyone. Ask questions. I'd be happy to answer. Spam says, happy. Our gotcha sounds like a great plan. Look forward to following along. Josh Graff, the man, says it's alive. Glad you are doing these again. One of my favorite parts of your channel. It's amazing seeing the progress you're making. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you. I know, John. I'm called out, John. I'm guilty. I'm accountable. I'm not doing any more lives 2 weeks later, 2 lives in a row. You're right. You're right. Guilty. So call me out on it. You guys are right. You guys are right. Somebody even said like, oh yeah, how long is this going to last? I'm like, no, when I say something, I do it. Has changed. So, guilty as charged. Axe Monkey says, did you see a list perfectly adding bulk listing? I think you're making them nervous. I also think you're poised to eat their lunch. Yeah, we're not really watching too much what they're doing. I'm going to get into the verticals of our business. Primo Chemo's cringing out. You guys want me to change them? Give me a second, I'll change them. No, as far as list perfectly is concerned, I mean, we're not, overly concerned about what any of them are doing. So I'm not throwing any shade or judgment or anything on any of what the other ones are doing. We're very confident in our path right now. So there's many verticals going on in the business, and I want to talk about it. Number one, we have the AI itself, ListEasier AI. This is where you use the software and you produce listings. This is what we use. This is what we've used to do this, and this is what we're going to continue to use to build a $100 million e-commerce business over the next 9 years. I have full confidence in the software and where it's going and the things that we're doing. The people who are leading our tech side of innovation, they are, the smartest people in the world. Worked on the Artemis 2 moon landing, worked for IBM, Google, directly under Tim Cook for Apple. Like, these are the smartest people in the world. I'm really confident in their roadmap and the things that they're doing. That's the first part of the business. So I want to say about ListEasier, and I'm not talking about anyone else, but really the focus with ListEasier is optimization. So the users are saying we're seeing, better offsite rank on Google. We're seeing better rank within the other LLMs. So some people will search OpenAI like, hey, or ChatGPT like, hey, where can I find this CD? And your item's going to rank higher. So all those optimizations, they're performing well now, but they're going to perform even better in the future. But then also working with eBay and the information we're getting from eBay, like, how do we get our users to the top of the surfacing algorithm and to the top of the search algorithm? So all those things are happening. I don't think anyone else is doing that. I know what a lot of other people are doing is they call it a ChatGPT wrapper, where basically you are an interface for ChatGPT and you're using ChatGPT to generate everything and you're pushing it through the API. We're like 1,000 steps ahead of that. So there I have confidence. And that's our first vertical. Oh, this button came undone. That's our first vertical. And that's what we provide to everyone, and that's what we use ourselves. We offer that at the lowest price possible. And the reason we do that is because we want everyone to use it. I was and am in this community. I built my business, and you guys who watched me over the past 5 years struggle. I was dying for something like this. So I want to make it available for everyone, and it is available, and it's super cheap, and that's with that. Now, the second vertical with ListEasier is predictive AI. I don't think anyone else is doing this. Maybe they are. I'm not throwing shade at anyone. I'm just saying what we're doing. So we are building our own databases and our own predictive AI. So while a lot of other people are using computer vision and that's it, we're also creating our own predictive AI systems. So a lot of time, energy, and money is going into building those systems, and that is truly the future. So we can use that information to have our own predictive models like pricing, consumer trends. We can, send recommendations to our users. Like these products are doing very well. These ones, and just kind of nudge the users like, hey, this product's rating really high. We have the predictive analytics for it, but also the predictive AI allows us to predict which direction things are going as far as what consumers are looking for, what keywords are they using? Are there keywords that are changing that they're using more in their searches? All this stuff. So those two verticals are huge right now. Those are our main AI, and we just have the best people working on it. So I can't talk about what other people are doing because I don't know. I can't look behind the scenes on what they're up to, but that's what we're doing, and I think that's what puts us at the front. The third is, look, we're going to say we have all this stuff going on. We're using all these systems, but then I don't show you anything. But we're building our own e-commerce business. We are looking to turn this into a $100 million business. We want to go after the music magpies and all these other ones. These people that have 100, 200, 300 people working in their warehouse. We have, across these three verticals, we have 4 people working right now. And we're doing as much as what a warehouse of 100 people would. So this is the big focus, and this is what I want to document, and this is what I want to show everyone, that, hey, this is possible. And what we've done now is we're working on it, but a little scoreboard at the bottom. So you'll see me sitting here like this, and there will be a scoreboard. You'll see what our revenue is, how many ListEasier accounts we have, what the number of listings, the total revenue of the listings, and we're hoping to have that updating live. So that'll be rolling, updating live at the bottom while I'm talking, and you can see for an hour every day where this is going. We'll show you the accounts. You can go onto eBay. It will say ListEasier, and it will show you the account, and you can follow everything that's going on those accounts. So I think it's exciting. It's a little bit, part of it is a little bit scary. I have almost $3 million worth of inventory that I'm going to be unwinding and putting into this business. That is my baby that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into for the past 5 years or so. And that's going to get rolled into this. The inventory is. So it's exciting, but also, we're fully going all in on this right now. So 100% all in. And I just think we have the best people, and it's an opportunity. It really is. IdeaPad says, Beard says he has 59 million Labubu purchases in the works. My daughter's obsessed with Labubu. Obsessed. Axe Monkey Tammy says, yeah, I don't think you need to worry about them at all. I mean, anyone who is, I said this before and I'll say it again. Anyone who is in this space, building is, they're doing an incredible thing because they're pushing it forward. Everybody on that side of things, it doesn't matter who the company is, but everyone on that side of things sees what the future looks like and the way it's going. So they want to be a part of it, and they have to. So if they're not doing something, then their company's, it's just not going to exist anymore. So it's the future. It's what it is. But we are putting so much time and effort into research and development so that we can lead the actual systems generation, and really push this to the next level. And anyone who wants to compete with what we're up to, they should be doing those things as well. And I'm not saying they're not, but we are. IdeaPad says, have you contacted Peter Thiel about a cash infusion? We are operating on revenues. This business alone will be providing, I believe, more than enough revenue to cover all the costs. And we are, it's funny that you bring up cash infusion because in the startup world, like I go to a lot of these AI conferences and I meet with a lot of the SaaS and tech kind of companies, and they're all really aiming to get raise a round. So they want to get pre-seed, seed rounds, Series A, Series B, everything else, or Series A. So there are a lot of companies that are simply focused on trying to convince investors to give them money. We're focused on just generating revenues, which is going to be this business. We stated from the beginning that the vertical, that's the software that we give to everyone, that's not a revenue driver. So, we're not doing that to get rich. That's for people to use. But this business is to prove that the software works and that we're going to be all paying our own wages and everything else on this business. And honestly, the community needs this right now. I do believe the community needs this. So if you can do 0.1% of what we're going to be doing over the next 9 years, you can have an incredible income and change your family's life. I truly do believe that, and I'm going to prove it by doing it. A little bit for me, it's another thing is I know what it takes to do this. So the next 9 years, I almost want to dial it down sometimes, but I know what has to be done. I know the pain, I know the effort and everything else, but this is the right direction. So I'm going for it. I call it my final act. This is my final act. And the hat is going to change to 100 million listed to the $100 million challenge. Flip It Good says, hello, good to see you. Den Decor Depot says, good morning, Josh. My milestone next year is 150K. You can do it. 100% you can do it. Kenneth says, the shop is looking nice. Thank you kindly. How do we know the shop is not AI? Grams and pops. Seriously. Okay, what can I do here? That's you know what? These days, how do you know this isn't a background? This could be a backdrop. We certainly could do that. Definitely could do that. Here, Corey. There we go. I'm interacting with the AI background. But that's a really good, that is a really good point, because it is possible. It certainly is possible. Good point. What if this was all just a background and not real? Okay. Lewis Riley says, are you in the US? No, this is located in Ontario, Canada. This is not US based. I wish. Paul Carl Card says, can we discuss ListEasier acquiring my card software? We've been playing with the card market. To be honest with you, Paul, we've got really good accuracy on it. Our cards are turning over, but we do have our card sellers are doing very well with the software. The problem is, price-wise, we are not competitive with Card Dealer Pro. Accuracy-wise, we are there, and we have definitely a bigger range. We can do way more than what they can with their internal databases. We do find parallels are an issue. That's probably one of the big things. So we're working on that, and we may spin off a cards only if it's worth it. And if we build the right partnerships, we might spin off a cards only thing where we go in that direction. And then we can become price competitive. But those systems are all in the future. Right now, the focus is launching to Australia. I'm looking at a picture of Australia right now, actually. I think the Opera House in Sydney. Is it in Sydney or Melbourne? I don't remember. But the launch to Australia and the launch to the UK are the big ones, and those are coming soon, plus a myriad of other innovations that are on their way out. They're 99% complete, but we've been doing some bug swatting. Some things have come up that we've noticed, and we've been doing some bug swatting over the past week or so, which has kind of delayed it a little bit. Josh Graff says, what would you do if you did get 5 million and had to invest it into ListEasier? That's a good question, Josh. So this is a complicated thing that goes into the startup world. We have turned down investments into ListEasier because it didn't work. It didn't work for us, and we believed it wouldn't work for the investor. So if we were to ever take some sort of investment, it's got to be something that's going to help really grow the company. It can't just be like, we're giving you money and we don't know anything about it, and now all of a sudden we're standing on your shoulders and we want you to do this and that, and it's all this pressure and everything else. We don't want that. So it's got to be someone in the space where they are really helping us develop our systems and build partnerships and reaching out to us and saying, hey, these are the things that you need to do in the next step. So A $5 million investment would likely come in the form of a Series A for us at this point. Where we are right now in our business and where we're going to be, that might come in a Series A. That is hopefully a conversation we can have in March at South by Southwest if we attend, which I think we have a good shot at. We're doing all the right things, but it's really up to them. And that would value the company at around $50 million. Now, those kind of checks, like a $5 million check, doesn't come unless you're doing, you got to be doing pretty strong revenue and prove that that revenue is repeatable. But if that money were to ever come in, let's say that money were to come in, we would focus very heavily on the generative AI and in the first vertical. So we talked about the 3 verticals, this business, the software that's front facing that all you guys are using, and then the generative and predictive AI models that we're working on. A lot of that money would go into generative and predictive, and then the forward-facing software would start moving towards enterprise clients. So our enterprise clients, so these are big companies, have solutions that they need us to work on, and that is all in that predictive AI kind of stream. So we would really focus on those 2 things. With our current modeling, everything else we can roll out that can help our current customers level up and take it to the next level. We will be providing mobile. We're going to go global with the software. We will have, our predictive pricing models are coming when we have enough data ourselves. All the integrations that are required, those will all be there. The cross-listing, all that other stuff is coming. We can do that based on, we don't need money for that. But when you have like a Walmart that says there is hardware and software that are required and we need predictive AI models within that hardware and software and blah, 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 that's where that money would go. If we were to stay the way we are and we said, get rid of the first vertical, no innovation, no research and development, just this software and then this business, we don't need any money, we would never take it, because when you do get an investment, it has a dilutive effect. So right now, my partners and I, we each have 33% of this business. We would get diluted down as money would come in. And when those people come in, they're expecting this big exit. So they're going to push you in the direction that they want you to go. I always want to be there to help the people who helped me do this in the first place. There were many times where I was ready to quit. In my eBay business, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm dying here. I'm buried. Everything's going wrong. And this community was coming in saying, yes, you can do it. Keep going. I feel bad for you, but just keep this, do that, blah, 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 blah. Always want to be there and just be there and say, you know what? Maybe I can help too. So now that we have this, let's push this out to people at cost. Get them all using it. How many people outside of our community that watch this or even know about this software right now? So that's a long answer to a simple question, Josh. Kenneth says, I like the insulation spray on the roof. Yeah, it stays warm in here. It's like probably 38 degrees outside, and it's, 70 in here. Josh says you're gonna have to change the font size on the hat. It's gonna be ListEasier $100 million challenge. And the good thing is, Josh, now that I'm gonna roll up my own e-commerce businesses, I can focus on just this business. Right now I have my feet in so many different things. Like, I love it. I think my life is incredible right now, but if I'm not on YouTube, I'm not documenting what's going on, and this is super exciting. I have to also go to these conferences. We have to be seen. We have to put ourselves in front of the best in the world. And let's be honest, that's it. These are all innovators, and that's how you build partnerships. So you have to be doing those kinds of things, going to all the opens and the events and the trade shows and everything else. You got to be out there. You got to do it. You got to shake hands. This business is processing so much stuff. We'll be processing approximately 20,000 items in January 20,000 items a month, approximately. That we hope to scale over time. But you got to get 20,000 items in every single month to process that much. So it's, there's a lot going on, and I feel like I have my toes in everything. And what's suffering the most is my own personal business. So that one's just going to get wound down, and we're like, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm going to 100% go for it. And I know what I'm facing. I could be facing a really hard 3 years, like I did with my own sole proprietorship, but it's the right time. It's the right time. Primo Chemo says, fix the records. You come here and fix the records. You fix the records. Grams and Pops Corey says, I never doubted you. If we can't trust the Canadians, who can we trust? That's true. We're going to get sponsored by, we have an American now working here. So there is an American, an expat that's, so you're represented now, Corey. Dende Cordipo says, if you can do the cross-listing inventory management that Nifty does, I'm all in. I have some ListEasier credits I have been playing with. Nifty's AI lister is not as good as yours. Yeah. With Nifty, I mean, I think they were Autoposher before. Again, I don't know them. I know their founder, and I think she worked for, I don't remember, but I mean, I have full respect, everything they're doing, all that stuff. So I have nothing bad to say. Our stuff is, even with cross-listing, we can't just offer cross-listing. Nothing sets us apart. So if we just take an item and we cross-list it and fill out the details to another platform, that will provide a little bit of benefit, but we again want to optimize. So all over again, we are now interfacing with, let's say, cross-listing to Poshmark. We are now interfacing with their algorithms. We have to make sure that you are leading in their surfacing algorithm and their search algorithm. We have to make sure that your Poshmark listings are getting optimized off-site, and all this takes time, and it's a lot of work. So rather than just taking it from here and then putting it over there, this listing might be fully optimized over here on eBay. We can take an eBay optimized listing and put it onto Poshmark, and it will still be optimized more than most of them, but really you want to optimize the listing over here too. I am a non-technical founder, but I just know it's a lot of work. So every time our tech guys are working on this, they are once again having to build from the ground up. I believe ListEasier, this just goes to show how complicated this is. ListEasier is at 3 million lines of code. No one in their right mind would build something like that. Like, I don't even know if we would have built it had we known it was going to be that much work. So there's an incredible, and there are no redundancies. Like, it's checked for redundancies. It's just the amount of work that goes into making sure everything is optimized. So, and that's really the direction we're going. If we don't build it to be optimized, then we just have to take it down and build it a second time and sneak up behind him. James, Dave is here. He was here this morning. I don't know where he is now. Spencer is off today. Wesley Mode says, hello all. Good to see you, Wesley. Trailcam T says, are auction listings going to be added to ListEasier? Good question, Trailcam. It's complete. So we have auctions live for us. James, do you have auctions available in yours? I think some of the beta testers have it. We haven't launched it because there are 2 bugs that are getting swatted right now, and we're focusing on that. So again, auctions are built out. They're ready to go, ready to launch. We got to focus on the bug swatting right now. I don't know what they are exactly, but we've had a few customers reach out and say, there's this weird thing happening where this and this, and we're going to find it. And right now it's a matter of combing through eBay and combing through us and seeing where the error is, where this little problem is happening. So, and honestly, everyone, this is how it goes. So this is just the way it is. James says, Josh, good to see you, James. Biff Boffo, mild-eyed melancholy says, did you say ListEasier may have an option to simply retrofit existing listings with descriptions and complete the item specifics? Yes, it's coming. We're not there yet, Biff, but that is on our list of features that are coming. So the way we kind of do it is we get feature requests all day long. Like, hey, it would be nice if you did this. Hey, it would be nice if you did that. And then we have to kind of organize those feature requests based on what's going to help us. What would solve a major problem for everyone? And the ListEasier regeneration of old listings would help absolutely everyone. There are so many people out there that have thousands or even tens of thousands of listings that they know are not done properly. And if there could be some sort of regeneration, it would help them out tremendously, because now you go from the bottom of the pile and it's just not end and sell similar. You are fully optimizing. The big thing is, Biff, we have to make sure that it's foolproof. So when you're doing something like that, like auto generation, there's always the risk of people deleting their own listings. And this is really where that's the big problem that needs to be fixed. So picture this. Someone starts the process of doing something, and this happens all the time with listing generation on ListEasier, but you start the process. I'm going to take 100 listings and I'm going to send them through the regenerator. You start the 100 listings, you get halfway through and you decide, you know what? So now they're down off eBay and they're halfway through the regeneration process, and you decide, I'm going to make myself a sandwich. Then I'm going to take a shower. You know what? I'm going to go thrifting. And you forgot that you even started that, and the process times out and you lost 100 listings. So we got to be very careful that we do it properly, because if that happens, you're just going to get a phone call from someone saying, I lost 100 listings. I accidentally deleted it. We get that stuff even on ListEasier, where people will start a process and they won't finish it. So they will generate 100 listings, get charged 100 credits, and they won't send them live to eBay. They'll turn off the computer. They'll forget their password, all these different things. And then they contact us and say, I want my money back. This is blah, 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 blah. So we've got to really be careful and make sure that we build the system so they're bulletproof. So another long answer there. Dave's camera shy. You saw maybe a little bit, James, in the last video I did where we picked up all those records. Wesley says Nifty is a great cross-lister. Yeah, I don't know anything about them. I would love to meet her. I would love to go to New York and meet her. I think, my respect to anyone these are hard problems to solve. I couldn't do it myself, not a chance. James says, tell Dave to come to the camera. Quirky Picker Chad says, I just started ListEasier last week. I've listed about 75 postcards in 45 minutes, moving on to hats. Once you get it, Chad, you're just gonna kill it. You're gonna slug it. Reventure Goods, that's a cool name, says we've been using ListEasier for a month now. It is a big game changer. Yeah, that's the feedback we like to hear. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this live for, but I'm in a good roll right now. That's the kind of stuff you want to hear. Like, hey, this is working really well, and I think the feature upgrades are going to be incredible as they start rolling out. If you are using ListEasier every single day, you'll see, there's version updates. It shows up where it says this has changed or that has changed. Do you want to refresh? Of course, always refresh it, or even do a hard refresh, which is Control-Shift-R or Command-Shift-R. As long as you're not halfway through a process, you can do that. When you log onto the page, it'll do a hard refresh, clear your cache. But all those updates are back-end things that are happening. So our CTO is working on the back end of this stuff, making the changes so that the user interface item can be added and then just go live. So whenever you see those updates, it's all those features that you guys are requesting. It's all already operating in the background. We just don't give you access to it yet because we're not 100% on it. Like, our accuracy isn't high enough, or we need to figure something else out first. James is really, he's doing a lot of our beta testing where we're just like, hey, James, we're moving you over to the other model. Let us know what problems you find. And then he's reporting back, in this category, the MPN, it's asking for it, even though it doesn't really need it, like stuff like that. And that helps us work on the back end, do the updates so that when we roll it out to you, you are all good to go. Yeah, James says he hasn't seen auctions yet. I maybe it might be on Super Dave's account. One of the beta accounts has it. John James says, when you say you're winding down your own business, you mean closing your Shopify store and no longer doing the stereo views on eBay? Wow, all that effort you put into it. Yeah, more or less, James, John James, yeah. And I did put a lot of effort into it, but I can't do it all. And I recognize that. So, I love that business. I love everything about it. And I'm very proud of all the time and effort that I put into it, but I can't do it all. So, a good example, the other day, I got up early and I started shipping all my stuff. I had customer calls, 3 hours of customer calls. I got on a train. I shipped my items, my own personal items, got on a train, called my friends, but they're beta testing, but called my friends and just be like, hey, how are you doing on this? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Had these conversations, got to the city, filmed content, went to the AI conference, came back, it's 11 o'clock. I didn't list anything. And all of November's been going that way. So for me, I either focus on the ListEasier business or I focus on my own business, but it has now become impossible to do both. It's just impossible. So one of them has to be rolled up. My own personal business, me and my family are dependent on that to generate income for us. That pays our bills. My WHS Stereo View, Wilson Harbor Sales, and the attic one, all those accounts. That pays all my bills. I have 4 people dependent on that. ListEasier, the e-commerce business, the software business, there are, thousands of people dependent on that working. All of the people watching this, everyone is dependent on me, not just me, but me, Dave, Travis, Spencer. All these people and their families are dependent on us making this work and making it as good as possible. So how can I say I got to put all my effort into my own thing when all that responsibility is on the other side? I got to make a choice, and the choice is clear. The painful thing is that there's millions of dollars of items in my own personal sole proprietorship that, I spent all those years doing it. It hurts a little bit, but you just got to go full autist and be like, what's your direction? You can't do both. You cannot do both. You have to pick one side or the other. And, the direction for me is clear. Grams and Pops. Josh, can we get ListEasier to warn us if we hit eBay insertion fees? Had one of our stores bust through and didn't realize it until 100 listings in. Are they insertion fees for eBay? If eBay is, so here's what I'm picturing. You're on the premier store or premium store. You have a maximum of 50,000 listings or something like that, and you went 100 over on your eBay limit, and then they're charging you insertion fees. The problem right now, Corey, with us and eBay is that we're push only. So we push into eBay. We get information from eBay, but we don't get it from your accounts. So when you log into eBay through your account through ListEasier, that's a connection directly that you're having with eBay using Auth0. We don't know what's going on there. We don't know what your account is. We don't collect that information. We don't know your password, any of that other stuff. So it becomes impossible for us to extract information from you. We can generally get information from eBay about, what their algorithm is looking for and everything else. And we have many ways of doing that, but we can't do it through your account. So we actually don't know what's happening on your account. The information we have is the push information. So we know what you're listing. We know what the dollar amount that you're pushing through. We can tell the average dollar amount of each item, what categories you're active in on ListEasier. We can see all that stuff, who's generating what, and you can see it in your dashboard. You get all your numbers. We have all that information. We can see that happening, and that will help us with our own predictive AI, but we don't know what your eBay account is doing. We don't know how much you sell. We don't know if you have you know, any of those things. We just don't pull that information. And the reason for that is we don't want the liability of that. So when we first launched, we prioritize security over two-way communication with eBay. If we're pulling that information, we're holding it somewhere in the cloud or on our servers. And if anything were to ever happen, we don't want to have some sort of data breach where now all of a sudden everyone's information is compromised. So, you know, we don't. Okay. I'm falling behind. Adam says, hey, James Primo, scroll up and read my comment. I almost closed the live. Oh, you guys are killing me. Bridget says, excited for the regeneration of existing listings. I mean, give us time. You know, nothing's coming today or tomorrow. I think the next big thing is going to be UK, Australia. That's already working. I know it's going. I mentioned it in one of my other videos that the big thing with that is you have to use the local, like you have to use the dialect that they're using. So we have to make sure that the listings are generating using colloquialisms and speech that is native to that part of the world. So that is a big one as well for us. But that it's not huge, but that's what they're working on. Don Flippin says, I tried to list HP Inc. on ListEasier and put ListEasier AI for the category specific field. Pulled down, will it populate correctly? I did VHS tapes and it didn't work for me. So ideally, Don, I mean, go to the ListEasier account. If anyone has a wrench and you want to put the ListEasier account in, I would recommend just watching all those videos. The ListEasier YouTube account. I think it's ListEasier University or ListEasier U. Primo, if you don't mind putting it up, I would appreciate it. But go there and watch the 20 or so videos. They're only like 30 seconds or a minute long. And you will pick up some really cool things that you didn't even know existed. When I first started using ListEasier, there were things in there that I didn't even know. I was like, what? It can do that? I didn't even know. So watch those videos and you know, you'll get some really cool tidbits out of it and it might answer a lot of questions. The thing is, and I really want to drive this point home, is the more context you give ListEasier, the better it will perform. So I had this conversation with ADH Dave where he only wanted to use one photo and the AI was not able to distinguish between a sticker that looked exactly the same and his plaque. But when he took a picture of the reverse, it got it almost every time. So, you know, the more context you give it, the better. So if you're doing VHS tapes and you're only doing, let's say, a picture of the front of the VHS, and you want ListEasier to figure out everything down below, you're not giving it any context. So how does it know that it's not a poster, or it's not a beta cassette, or it's a VHS cassette? Like, how does it know? It's not an 8mm cassette. So ideally, you give it some sort of context. So you go into the item specifics and you put format VHS. Great. Now, in the 0.3 seconds that ListEasier AI has to go look for this stuff and do all the optimizations and everything else, at least now it knows it only has to look for VHS tapes. It doesn't have to search the gambit of all possibilities. Posters, mini posters, postcards, all this other crap. Not crap, but you know what I mean. So I think that is, giving it context helps a lot. Once you do it, save your template so that you can reuse it as a later date, but give it as much context as you can. Even little things really, really help. You would be surprised how many possibilities get knocked out if you just one thing. Like, is it new or used? You put used, it helps. Is it, I don't know. Any context you can give it helps. So that's what I would say is take the extra minute to build your template properly. That template is now what you use from now on whenever you get those things. So rather than just saying format and then use ListEasier AI, we recommend that you put in VHS, and that gives it enough context that, you know, you're going to be rocking and rolling. Maddie Blige says, Josh, would you continue the stereo view business if you had someone to ship for you to in the United States? I don't know. I don't know, Maddie. This needs me. like I said, there's just too many people dependent on this working. We see customer numbers ticking up. We see people listing more and more. There's a lot of customer feedback on things they would like and things they don't like. And just reaching out and talking for an hour, like talking them through stuff. I feel like it needs me, if that makes sense. And I just can't do both. I think even if I were like 25 years old, I couldn't do both. It just requires so much. So it's got me to a crossroads where I have to decide. And if I decide before January 1st, which I have, to roll that one up, I don't have to do the taxes on it past next year. It gives me a lot more flexibility, and then I can increase what I'm doing over here. So, for example, huge announcement. We launched 18,000 categories, all optimized on ListEasier. Basically, every single eBay category outside of motors and subcategory. The announcement, like it came out, but it wasn't, not everybody knew about it because it's just so much going on that it's impossible to do all things. That has to come to an end, in my opinion. You're stealing the box idea for the vinyl in the background. These ones? Those ones, James? Yeah, I think it's 20 or so vinyl in a box. And the box only covers like 3/4 of the way up. Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? So I'll pull 25 out. But yeah, so there's, I think, 20 or 25 records in here. This is box 25. And then you can see enough of the side. Like sometimes we still have to pull it out, but nothing's worse than if you have 100, 200, 300 vinyl to go through and you can't figure out which one is which. So that's the, and all this work here is Dave. Dave is, he's the CEO of ListEasier, but he is a really good systems guy. So I don't even step into the ring. He decides what shelving he wants, then that's what we get. He decides how it's going to be organized, that's what we get. He decides all the automations, that's what he gets, because he's the best at it. Nobody's better than him. So, and his systems work really well. There is no space, like there is not an inch of space, really. It's so well organized. So props to him on this one. He's the best there is. I hear Dave. Corey says, I know a guy that can help you with the stereo view stuff. Right on. That's probably you. Headfake says, should be 56 likes. Let's go. How many likes do we have? Give me a like if you like this. Give me a like. Biff Boffo, does the prospect of losing listings during ListEasier retrofit even hit that hard if you can just use ListEasier to rebuild them? It's a good point, and it's a point that's been brought up. But it's not so much that someone might do it and it might happen. It's the amount of customer service that's required to fix it. So if someone were to lose 100 listings, they want those 100 listings back. Like it could turn into a very long time. I've done walkthroughs with people that have been through long. I want them to do well. I want them to do well, and they get hung up on small little things over and over and over again. And that something like that, you could, that's the danger, is the hours and hours and hours and hours of customer service to kind of resolve the issue. So, and the other thing is, with payment, as far as payments are concerned, we don't process payments. That's done by a bank. They do all the payments processing and everything. So if a customer wants, if they're like, I lost 100 items, I want $30 or $5 or something like that back, and they're like, I want my $5, I don't care. That's not easy for us to do because we have to, approach the bank and everything else because we don't want anyone's payment information. That's another thing. That's a security risk if we carry that information. We don't want it. So it's the customer service problem, Biff, primarily. Jovial Juggler says, good gosh, Josh. So happy for you. You're such an inspiration as you never give up. Just keep swimming. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Adam says hi to Jovial. Bridget says, thanks, Josh, Travis, and Dave, and Spencer, for all your hard work and the positive impact you're making in our lives. Thank you, Bridget. That's very nice of you to say. IdeaPad says, learn to code. I said that to Dave yesterday or day before. If I spent the next 10 years coding, I still wouldn't even be 1% as good as what Travis is. So I'm going to stick with what I'm good at. Coding's not it. I stay out of it. I roughly understand what they're doing through our communication, but I could never build or repeat the systems that they're building. They truly are one-of-a-kind individuals. Sometimes to the point I said this to Travis, like, why are you even working on this, man? You worked on a moon landing. Like, you did all the data and data generation and data handling, all this other stuff for a moon landing. What are you doing working on this? And he's like, this is just as complicated and it's awesome. I'm like, it is awesome. Yes, it is. Miss Butterfly says, Josh, the man with the plan, so excited for you and your business. Thank you. So Miss Butterfly, I think it's going to be in January when the employee switch over happens. We are currently with 20,000 items in the queue ahead of us, and another 30 or 40,000 in the pipeline. So starting in January, and it's not because it's a New Year's resolution, it really has to do when end of year happens for businesses so that we can wind the right ones down and start the right ones. That's when you're really going to see this happening. And I'll have a dashboard here and you can watch it live as the numbers tick up. And the idea is that people just put in 4 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, do something similar to what we're doing, but at just 0.1% of the effort, and you'll be able to, generate a 6-figure income. No matter how bad and all the problems on eBay, I still think it's possible. Now, not everybody has the room and this and that, and there is a cost to space and all these other things, but these are just issues that we have to solve as business owners. That's what we do, right? We got to fix these issues and figure it out. Death Taken from Calgary, Alberta. Good to see you. Okay, Primo Kimo put up the link for the ListEasier University. Thank you, my man. Appreciate you. Yeah, check out those videos. Just go through them all, and you'll pick up like the little things and the little tricks and tips. Even if you use it already all the time, check it out, because there are some cool things that I didn't know you could do. For me, a big one was if you have a photo fail, which almost never happens. But if you do, if you click on the little exclamation point, it'll just regenerate it and then it's done. Error handling. If you have a failure for whatever reason, there could be a problem in the listing, or eBay doesn't like something about it, or the API doesn't. Those errors are put at the top, and it will tell you, you need to fix this, and this is what you need to fix. So stuff like that is super awesome, and you wouldn't have known if you don't see those videos. IdeaPad sounds like a lot of work. It's all a lot of work, man. It is a lot of work. It's all a lot of work, IdeaPad. When I worked in the city, when we were doing the tunneling, oh man, I would work, this is no exaggeration, this happened many times. I would start at 4 a.m. We'd run 24-hour shifts. So I'd start at 4 and I'd work till 10 at night, and then my cohort, who's one of my best friends now, he would work the night shift, and we would just do this rotating. If something bad happened, I'd have to stay late into the night and then start again early in the morning, so I'd just sleep in my car. Then we had something called track shutdowns, which happened on the weekends. And then we'd do it like a 36-hour shift on the weekend for the track shutdown. That was a lot of work. And I was I almost sacrificed every that this would happen. But once all that work is done, I don't have anything to show for it. Like, there's no investing in yourself. At least with this, all of us know that's working on this. We are building something that is not only going to change our lives, it's going to change a lot of lives. A lot of people's lives are changing, have changed, and will continue to change as long as we do what we say we're going to do. And for those who don't, pardon my French, for those that don't give a shit about AI, like all the background stuff and the coding and everything else, if that doesn't matter to you, at least know that all you have to do is just plug it in, plug and play, do a small fraction of what we're about to do here with the road to $100 million, and you're gonna see an incredible change in your life. And that's the point of this, is to prove that. Missy B says, it would be nice if there was a Discord or Facebook group. So there was a place, there was a place to get actual information on what updates and such are done and coming out. We're planning on doing that. So we built a LinkedIn page. We have, of course, YouTube, and then we have our customer service. And of course, anyone can email me at any time and I'll get back to you ASAP, unless it goes into my junk folder and I never see it. But Facebook is definitely on the docket. And I think, let's say this, Missy B, give me till January and then I can get that set up properly. My biggest issue right now is time. And I made this decision after not really sleeping for 2 nights in a row that I have to wind down my own business. It's my baby. I killed myself to make it work. And, now it's just can't be, I got to cut it. I say, that's it. It's gone. It's over. But that will give me time to do like the Facebook group. And this is what I mean. And I don't know, it sounds like, kind of cliche and, like I'm buttering my own bread here a little bit, but this is exactly what I mean by you have thousands of people who are relying on you to do something. One of those things is a Facebook group, because they're on Facebook and they want to interact. They want to hear about the updates, and they want to just go somewhere where they go to that group and then a community helps them out with whatever problem they're having. Like, hey, I just had this issue. And then someone can say, well, I had that issue last week and all you have to do is this. So give me till January. We're getting there. It's high on the list. And that will be me. I'll be in that group. I'll run that group, and we'll just call it like, I don't know, listers for automation or something fun like that. I don't know. And we'll just, we'll just have a good time and solve all those problems. Discord, I don't like. I find Discord very difficult, but Facebook is a little bit easier. A bearded PokeTuber says, not enough hours in the day. I feel that totally. So you got to cut stuff out. And, you got to do stuff like exercise and all this other stuff that's really important to keep going. And I have kids and all this other stuff. So, you want to do all these things, and there's only so many hours in the day. Maddie J. Blythe says, happy for you. Thank you. Don Flippin says, is a phone app available yet? No, not yet. I don't know. I don't know what the thing is there. I think it has to do with, I'm not even going to say, but it's coming. I know the guys released an update maybe now a few weeks ago. James is probably more aware of that than I am because he gets these updates before I do. James Helferstay, but they did release something that was a step towards the app, and it had to be rolled back because there was a problem. So, but they're working on it. It'll get there eventually. When it's frontier technology, there's no roadmap. So you're the first one to build these things. So there's no like, here's what you need to do. It's sometimes trial and error. And again, the app would be a special thing. So you'll see when we get there, but the app will never have the functionality that the site does, because then you might as well just list it to eBay. Like if you're going to do one photo at a time and then list it, then you might as well just list it on eBay. But if you can do something where it's uploaded to the PC, and we'll get there, Maddie. We're working on it. Don, it's coming. Give us a flip of a random box. What do you want to see something? It's just so well organized that I don't want to. Okay, you want to see something? I will, Adam, this is for you, okay? This is super cool. Give me a second. I'll show you something. Give me a second here. They're going to be heavy, too. Okay. So this is the stuff that I find cool. And I got this for you because you'd probably be interested in it as well. So these are all 14 and 16-inch transcription records. Some are vinyl and some are shellac. But there are some cool pieces in here, one of a kind. And this we just stumbled into accidentally. This the guy just said, "Hey, do you want to buy these too?" And we said yes. And we have some programs here. I just quickly went through it, but we have programs here that have been lost to time, that there are no other examples of. And that's the kind of stuff I love. This also needs to be the reason why Dave is responsible for all this stuff and not me, because if I were to go through this, I'd be like, look, there's a $300 record, there's a $400 record, there's this, there's that. But here's a 10-inch phonograph. He is of a good business sense where he's like, we need to just get this up. Here we have a red 16-inch clear vinyl record, transcription record. I think that's War of the Worlds. That's so cool. How cool is that stuff? So that's my favorite right now, but there are some pretty cool, and the queue up of stuff that's going to go through, there's some pretty awesome stuff. Biff says, you should let people have the option to prompt their own titles. If a know-it-all like me makes them worse, so be it. This is the problem though, Biff. This is the problem. This is a really good point. And we've had this a lot. So people have come and gone in ListEasier where they will say, I don't like the titles because that's not how I do it. And I feel like, I know my system. I know what I like. This is what I want to do. The thing is, for us, if we let users build their own titles, it has an incredibly dramatic effect on how that item performs in offsite and onsite. So the whole point of the software is to optimize. It's to get more sales. It's to increase rank. It's to interface correctly with the search and buy side algorithms, the surfacing algorithms, the ranking algorithms, all these different things. And there is like endless amounts of work that have gone into making sure that that's what it's doing. If we let people, let's say we let people generate their own descriptions, which you might even be able to do, generate their own titles. Now all we are is the eBay bulk listing tool. So, it will fill out the item specifics, but it's not doing what it's intended to do. And the people who use it the most start trusting it. They're like, okay, I'm seeing it now that it's performing better than what my listings were. And you kind of have to break out of that mold. I get it. I understand, but here's another part of the problem with this. We need good data crossing over the divide. Does that make sense? Remember, our first vertical is the predictive AI. It's not just computer vision, it's generating our own AI and our own data. So if we are sending bad information over, we're also collecting bad information. We need to collect the best so that we can continue to optimize and offer things that we don't have access to, like generative pricing data or predictive pricing data, trends data, all this other stuff. We also see, and we very much recognize that this is a problem on eBay and within eBay's own database, which is why it's always going to be hard for them to train their own AI. Their site is filled with inaccuracies, and their AIs will have to pull data from those inaccuracies and provide that data to their users. So it's a huge problem for them, and we see how that happened, and we're like, we don't want to do that. So for example, I think we tested briefly, I could be wrong about this, but we tested the title thing briefly where people could generate their own titles. And I mean, you can erase the title and put in whatever you want, but we tested that briefly and people were putting in emojis, look with the 2 @ signs, 10 exclamation points in a row, email addresses, all this other stuff. And stuff was getting rejected through the API, stuff was not performing well. It was coming back like, hey, I'm not getting any views, this thing sucks. So we kind of just were like, hey, we need our own data optimized. We want to optimize for the sale for our users. This is what we're doing. Otherwise, we're going to accommodate for people, and we're basically going to be eBay and struggling with all these problems and struggling with these problems at scale. If you let it happen, how do you unwind it later on? How do we build we could take all this data, if people are doing it wrong, take all this data, and we're just like, we turn into a shitty AI company because all our data sucks. So that's kind of why we force it to do it our way, because our way isn't opinion-based. It's interfacing with like 5 or 6 or 7 different algorithms, taking their demands and optimizing for their demands, if that makes sense. And thank God I'm not the technical founder, by the way. Miss Butterfly says, ListEasier, never thought I'd enjoy listing, but here I am loving it. Thanks to ListEasier. Appreciate you, Miss Butterfly. Thank you. Wesley says, congrats on the 18,000 different categories. That was a tough one. So I'm starting to get a headache from this hat. That was a tough one. So again, every category has to be optimized for category specific. So we were using prompt engineering for each category, and then beta testing, and then back testing, and then double back testing every single category to make sure that each category was optimized. And it was a lot of work. And we're like, are we going to really do this over 18,000 categories? We're never going to get out of here. This is going to kill us. So we had to build a generative predictive AI that could build generative predictive prompts for each category. And once Travis, our CTO, once he figured that out, we could fully populate and go live. But it was an incredible amount of work. So prompt engineering, I don't want to go too much into it, but some of the other software out there, their prompt engineering will be make an optimized eBay listing, and that's what it does for every single category. The problem is every category is different, and there are different things for each category that make that thing perform better. So you really have to be dead nuts in each category to make sure that that's optimized properly. So, yeah. Thank you, Wesley. Appreciate you. Yeah, Bridget says retaking the photos would be consuming if they were lost. Yeah, we do have to foolproof it. It's really important that it's foolproof. Just because people make mistakes, things happen. I mean, it's be like working, and then you're like, I really have to go to the washroom. And you go to the washroom, and then you take a phone call and all this other stuff, and the process times out, and then what do? So we don't want that. Adam says, some improvements. Thanks for asking. Says, I'm a few steps with my walker. I'm sorry to hear you're going through all this, Adam. That sucks. Paul Carl Card says, coding is easier than ever now with AI helping. Yes, coding, a new feature to upload cards to whatnot while I listen to this. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with AI to do a lot of the coding. And I will be the first to say, when I say there's 3 million lines of code, it's not someone entering every single line. A lot of that is being generated, through AI software, but it can't do everything. It cannot do everything. So, and you got to know what you're doing. So for us, a big part of it is, without going into the weeds too much, because I don't know the weeds too much, but a lot of it isn't necessarily, how do I phrase this? If you don't know what you don't know, how can you tell it to do something? And that's really where you got to know your stuff. So I can maybe vibe code something, but I don't know what I don't know. And then when something breaks that I don't know how to fix it. And really what we should be focusing on is not whether or not the software is operational, it's optimization, because that's what everybody wants. Everybody using the software, as much as they say, I don't want a description that does this, I don't want this to do that. All they really truly want is sales, more sales. So how do we optimize? In a sea of billions of listings, how do we put your listings to the top? And it's not as simple as just saying to the AI, make sure their listings perform better than anyone else's, because everyone can write that in their software. And it doesn't work. So it has to be actively operating within a series of parameters that are always changing, if that makes sense. Travis, if you're watching this, you'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And that's why, thank God, you're the CTO and not me. Lucky Fine says, hello. When using ListEasier, there's no way to input the dimensions and weight of an item. Does it affect in any way if you sell international, or I have to go into eBay to input weight and dimensions? Yeah, so the thing is with the software is think of it as your own eyes. So whatever information and pictures you feed ListEasier, think of it as your own eyes. What are the weight and dimensions of this coffee cup? Does anyone know? You wouldn't be able to know. So unless you actually weigh it and give it the weight, or you put a ruler up beside it and give it the dimensions, it doesn't know. What we do for certain items, when we take the photo, one of the photos has a ruler beside it. And then at least it knows the dimensions and it can reproduce those dimensions. The software can even give context. So if you were to give a vertical, this is the coolest thing about ListEasier. If you were to give the vertical dimension, so if you held a ruler here or a yardstick, you gave the vertical dimensions, more often than not, it can determine things like volume and what the horizontal dimensions are. But you got to give it some sort of context. It can't, otherwise it's guessing. And if it guesses wrong, are we in a world of trouble? So we'd rather it didn't guess. You got to give us a little bit of something. Mike Becko says, what you are doing for the community is amazing. Thank you so much. Best of luck moving forward. Mike, you're the best, man. I had a great time meeting with you in Las Vegas. You are the true, you're the true one, because you're the one who is keeping the community together, going to these meetups, meeting people. You're on all these lives. So my hat is off to you, man. You're the one. Jovial Juggler says, start right, stay right. Yeah, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You are correct. Everything looks awesome. Thank you, Jovial Juggler. Appreciate you. Miss Butterfly is scanning while watching. That's awesome. Eric Bresci says, hey, what's going on, Eric? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. JR Rodeffer says, nice setup. ListEasier is getting better and better almost every single day. They're working on it every single day. I think, JR, you're going to love the rollouts that come out. The rollouts are going to be, now that we have it where we need it to be, and there's all this background stuff happening, once he's ready to roll out, you're going to see some pretty cool, awesome things. So, Josh Graff says, that is a box of money, those transcription discs. Yeah, that was a pretty awesome. We went, Josh, if you don't have time, I did a static video, my last one, but if you just kind of scan all the way over, you'll see this big record buy that we're working on. We're doing it in chunks. This guy has been collecting records for 50 or 60 years. He's like 80 years old. Man, the stuff he had was incredible. Incredible. Adam says that I have some of those, and I have a player. Nice. Most military and radio transcripts. Yeah. I think these are mostly radio, but like one of the ones I pulled was a red disc of the War of the Worlds being announced on like a certain local station. That's, to me, is the coolest. That's so cool. Probably going to go up for $50. It's probably worth a lot more than that and no one's looking. That's the one thing. But hey, it is what it is. Primo Kimo says we still have a few cutters of those, I think. That's awesome. Awesome. Oops. The chat's not jumping anymore, though. That's a good thing. Jovial says, wow, I've not ever seen a 16-inch record. Love Josh's show and tell. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. 100%. Missy B says, rather than making my own titles, I would rather have the ability to choose a more streamlined description. I hate descriptions and would like a less flowery option. Let me choose that. So, Missy B, this is another good point. Let me give away a little secret. This is going to be a secret for the competitors too, but it's important for you all to know this. Off-site, so within the LLMs, which are ChatGPT, Grok, and believe it or not, people shop using these, and Google and all the other search engines, content is king. Content is king. Content is king. So in order to get buyers to buy off Google, because your items are indexed, whether you promote off-site or not, those items are indexed on Google. So someone might put in, let's say for a CD, I don't know, you're selling a George Jones CD. You put it up. That gets indexed after a few days, 3 or 4 days or whatever, onto Google. Somebody types in the Google search bar, George Jones CD. You want yours to come up first, but yours will only rank first in the images or in the list if you have content, because Google and all these other search engines and LLMs and everything else, they all rank based on content. If you have no content in your page doesn't rank well. So what we're seeing is with the ListEasier users that have these keyword-rich descriptions that are optimized for off-site rank, they're getting these sales off-site. So they're getting all these guest checkouts from Google. They're getting people with zero feedback buying from them. They're buying on eBay because they're finding it on Google. Now, our brains are like, I don't need all that information. If I were a buyer, I wouldn't want to read all that. The thing is, the buyers don't read the descriptions anyway. So in our minds as sellers, we're like, buyers don't read the descriptions. I don't need all that crap in my description. They're not reading it anyway. But that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is you are building a page, a web page with content in it. Google does not know how to rank a page that doesn't have any content. So if you put content in it, and this is not to sell it, like, so for the ListEasier descriptions, it's not like all your dreams will come true and you will find love and purpose in your life if you buy this item. Like, it doesn't do that, but it is really giving a good description. Sometimes it describes what the tracks are, the length of the CD, who produced it, all this other stuff. And Google likes that. Google says, this is good content. This is a good page. Rather than skipping over it, it puts it near the top. And that's where you win, which leads to more sales. So a good example is Kevin Commonwealth. He asked me about all the descriptions. He's like, man, these descriptions, like, they're long and this and that. And I said, just leave it and trust it. He would put those items on Bonanza with those long descriptions. And he's like, I'm getting all these sales on Bonanza. I never sell anything on Bonanza. The reason is the Bonanza listings are getting high rankings in Google. It's not because you're listing it on Bonanza. It's because there's so much content in this web page. Think of your listing as a web page. There's so much content in there. Google loves it, and it's what it wants to show. It doesn't want to show pages that don't have any content. Think about how many scam, crappy web pages are out there with no content in them. Google doesn't rank them. You never even know they exist. You've got to have content in your page, and that's where you win. So anyone that's deleting all that description and just putting something on the bottom, you're doing yourself a disservice. Trust me, I promise you. I promise you. J.R. Road Effort says, go, go, go. Let's go. Let's go. Don Flippin says, I have 3 boxes of cell phone cases. How will AI be able to tell the difference in the cases if they are all iPhone cases? I would say you'd be surprised what it can do, first of all. But just get a yardstick and take a picture or two against the yardstick. It will give it enough context that it knows what to do. Derek W. Pat says, Hi, Josh. Happy Friday. Good to see you, Derek. Welcome, welcome. Gen X Flipper says, I will say that the program delivers on what it says it delivers on. However, I'm on the East Coast. I live in Virginia. I went to go list the other day at 8 p.m. and it would not let me list. I would say just refresh. Do that Control Shift R or Command Shift R if you're a Mac user. I don't know. Sometimes it's eBay. Gen X Flipper. Sometimes it's eBay. Sometimes eBay is down. It's just there are issues, but I would say do that Control Shift R. Part of the problem is that eBay is constantly doing updates as well. So if you do that Control Shift R, Command Shift R, if you're between updates, it will certainly make a big difference. Adam says, thank you, Josh. Fingers crossed. I'll step foot in the crate this year, closing in on 5 months. Wow. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. What's up? Hello?
Hello?
How's it going? I'm live right now.
Having fun?
I am having fun, yeah. Biff says, just beta release the LE retrofit option. We're all gamblers anyway. I've lost hundreds of listings with end and sell similar. It's just a cost that I accept. You will never convince Travis to launch something that isn't perfect. Trust me, I've tried. He is very proud of his work and he will only send out the best. When we were in that race to see who was going to release their software first, no one was pushing harder, but they're like, we're not putting garbage out, and thank God for it. Gen X Flipper says, it pushed me to the next day. That was not cool. I'm pressed for time. That's why I bought the program. If you look into that, I'd really appreciate it, that it cuts off on the East Coast at a certain time. Oh, I know what you're talking about, Gen X Flipper. Okay, everyone, this is important what he's saying. We are not payment processors. Our payments are processed by a bank. That bank is in England. So everything, everyone, that you list is on GMT time, Greenwich Mean Time, which means 5-hour time difference. So if you have, 200 listings left on your plan and you're like, I'm going to do it from 8 p.m. until midnight, just know that switch over happens at GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So there's a 5-hour or 6-hour time difference. That's the time that it runs off of. Adam, I've been there about 7 years ago. Give your physical therapy 100% no matter how much it sucks. I agree. Paul Carl Card says, I wrote in a weight estimator for my card software based on the number of cards in the listing. It isn't perfect, but it's a solid start. For ESC, it's 100% accurate, but bigger lots of stuff can be off. Seems close to impossible to do anything and everything when even something as easy as cards is inaccurate. I know that software is being used for imports and exports where based on what the HTS code is, the AI can determine approximately what the size of the box should be and what the weight is. So I know there are advancements in that software. The big risk is, like you said, Paul, is if we guess the weights, like if we have no context and we guess the weights and the dimensions and everything and it's wrong, then what? Then we have inaccuracy. Then it's like, then you start questioning everything else that has to do with the software. Like what else is not accurate? So that's a big thing. We've rolled out categories before under pressure where we were saying like, look, we're at 80% accuracy or 85% accuracy. We're almost there. And then people were push. Like, I don't care if it's 80% accurate. I want it right now. I need it, blah, 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 blah. And we give it to them at 80%. And a day later, they're doing a video saying it's 80, it only did 80%. 20% of the time it was wrong, and and I hate this. So we're like, you know what? After that, that's the last time. If it's not at 99% or whatever the accuracy metric is, it doesn't get rolled out. And that's every single feature now. Has to be fully accurate. So we did it before where someone said, I don't care. It was 80%, and we told them, like, it's only 80% of the way there. We're not ready yet. And they push, and we said, okay, we'll do it. They're like, I'm in a desperate situation. I need to get this stuff up, blah, 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 blah. We gave it to them. They put it up, and they did a video saying that there was some inaccuracies in it, and they were right. never contacted us anything. And I'm like, okay, that we're never again. Never, never, ever, ever again. Now it's got to be on. Craig says, what's up? What's up, Craig? Land shark picker. Wesley says, no problem. Respect. It is not easy work, for sure. Everyone's happy to hear that. Adam's doing a little bit better. Paul Carl Cart says, I have a few replenishable listings ranking #1 in Google, and it's a cheat code. Yeah. Yeah, see? Paul knows. I mean, Paul does his own programming, but content is king, and what you got to do to get those things ranked the highest. Now, you have that for a few of your replenishable listings, but we need to do it at scale. We need to do it for thousands of clients and over and over and over again. And then also have the systems in place that we're checking that it's actually doing it. Because if it's not, then we have to upgrade and make it better so that it is. So it's crazy. Landshark Picker says, I have 2 YouTube videos that are #1 in Google search for very broad search terms. Paul Carl Cart says, like info on shipping, returns, seller, and CTA, etc. Beer King Picker says 100 million listings. We're planning on getting $100 million worth of product listed, which we think will do about 20 million a year in sales. Right, Dave? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah.
In 9 years?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He's just agreeing with me.
Sure. You want a coffee?
I just got myself one, but I would die for one, honestly. I have a pounding headache, and I don't know if it's too much or not enough, but I think it's probably not enough coffee.
What is it?
Large 2 milk.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Dave, everyone. Super Dave, the man. Paul Carl Cart says, nice. YouTube is insanely undervalued for SEO. Can rank so high and so fast for long tail keywords. Don't have experience in broader stuff yet. Everyone's saying hi to each other. Beer King Picker says, Josh, when are the Blacklist Easier hats dropping? Okay, how about this? As a Christmas present, if you want a blackout ListEasier hat, I got to be careful here because I could get 1,000 emails. 1,000 emails, $30 a hat, I could really screw myself over. Let's say the first 100 people that email me that they want a blackout ListEasier hat, I will send you one. So if you want a blackout ListEasier hat, you're watching this, send me an email, josh@listeasier.com, and I will get them made. I just totally screwed myself because that'll be $3,000. That's a $3,000. I'm willing to do that. I'll take a $3,000 hit if you want that. Put it out there. Send me an email. First 100 people, you'll get one. An email, and in the email, just say blackout hat as the title and put your shipping information, and I'll get them sent to you. Adam is pushing hard and doing better, which is good to hear. Did you miss seeing Dave? Dave didn't come that far. He walked past the boxes. He was on the other side of the warehouse. He's mostly off camera. He's like, that's your job. Okay, Missy says, how about a box where we can add the weight and dimensions ourselves like we can with media mail? That would be, so if you want weight and dimensions on items, that for the current setup, Missy, that needs to be done in your shipping policies or your business policies that you import into ListEasier. So typically, if you're doing, let's say, I don't know, t-shirts, you have a policy for t-shirts and they're approximately this weight, and then that's what you use as your shipping policy. And then when you print out your labels, you can adjust up and down a little bit. If it's an item-specific dimension, you can put that in. If you go switch to table view instead of listing view, you can put that all in on ListEasier. But again, this is all information that needs to be in your shipping policies, which is, we can push information, but we don't really take information from eBay, so it's very difficult. Once you import your shipping policy into ListEasier, that's pretty much where we're at, and you've got to provide the weight and dimensions yourself. Paul says, yeah, the weight thing is really hard. Yeah. Does that make sense? Did I answer that question correctly? Because maybe I'm confused at where you want it. But if it's a business policies thing, just build new business policies for everything you list. There will come a time where we have single item listing flow, and then that process will change. So if you're a part-timer and you take pictures of 30 different items and you import them, we'll have the single item listing flow. And I don't know how the weights and dimensions will work with that, but that's all forthcoming. I know, again, I don't know if James, are you on the beta test for that or if one of the other accounts are, but Paul Carl Card says, for eBay SEO, I'm going to hopefully finish this feature today. It turns the photos into a slideshow video and puts a pre-recorded voiceover on top to automate eBay video creation. That's really cool. Grams and Pop says, no, you can't change the rules now. I already sent an email. Yeah, I totally just took a $3,000 hit there. Jeez. Landshark Picker says, flat rate business policy for shipping problem fix. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. JR Roadaffer says, I tried the other AI listing apps and ListEasier is the easiest for bulk listings by far. Well, and really the fun part is all the predictive and generative AI. And I mean, a lot of that stuff, JR, you guys don't see. It's happening in the background. That's the coolest thing, is that, you know, you've got someone who's, like, as far as computer science and AI, Travis is one of the best in the world. That's, you know, the guy worked for NASA, HP, like, he is one of the best in the world. And, you know, for him to be saying, I am working on cutting edge systems for eBay, for us, like, that is, like, it's awesome. And we don't see it all, but you can see it in what's going on with your items. And I think it, you know, it's awesome. It's just super, super awesome. So I don't know, like, I can't say for anybody else. I could build myself, I could build an AI listing software. It just wouldn't be very good. And I certainly wouldn't want other people to use it. Maybe with time, but I don't think it'd be very good. Certainly not what's happening here. This is, you know, this is next level stuff. And the thing is, I can say that, but we're using it. We use it. I want, you know, in 9 years' time, once we get it to the point where we have to get it, and it's a long commitment, I want people to be like, wow, he actually did it. And I want the people who are deciding now that, yes, I'm going to do this for myself, I'm going to build this business like I did, where you decide this is going to happen. I want them to be saying to themselves, with a fraction of this effort, I can get a fraction of the results, which will change my life. You know, that's what I want for people. I don't ever want people saying, oh, you screwed me over, or you didn't do what you said, or all these other things. So I want to do it. And it's not even a monetary thing. I mean, I'm throwing out a number there, $100 million in listings, because I believe that that's what's possible. And it's going to take 9 years. It's not going to be tomorrow, but, you know, it's just an idea whose time has come. Paul's doing free shipping. Probably does better. Craig says, just change my media store to free shipping and up my prices percentage to cover. Yeah, sales have increased. Happens every time. Don sent me an email. I've been against a free shipping for a long time, but I think certain categories demand it. Tammy says, I didn't realize how transitional this year would be for me. I've learned so much that I feel ready to break it next year. I give credit to you and ListEasier for keeping me in reality. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate you. Look, there's a lot going on with eBay right now. They're making a lot of changes and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. But there's so much opportunity still because we're at the start of something incredible. I truly do believe that. So I'm probably going to get off of here. But you guys want to walk down the aisle? Do you want to just walk down that aisle and then we'll call it a day. What do you think? I had an insurance call this morning, and I had to tell them about, because we have to insure. We throw out big numbers like this, someone's got to insure that. Well, when you are working with these insurance companies, it's no longer just by the policy. Like, it's insane what we've had to do. Blood tests, interviews with underwriters, meeting with people, filling out long annotated biographies and executive summaries, and it goes on and on and on and on, and you have to jump through all these hoops in order to get where you need to go. So this part of the business, there's insurance is a big part of that, and they just don't do it to anyone. So I had an hour-long insurance call where they were asking me information about my medical history, and I had to tell them, I broke my nose and busted my teeth. I slipped in the bathtub in the summer, and that was an hour-long call this morning. But if and this is what I mean, how am I going to have time to run my own WHS Stereo View? I don't think I can do it anymore. This coffee's done and it's cold. Are we walking through? Let's walk through, everyone. Let's go for a walk. Oh, okay. Here we are. We're gonna have a little walk here. Records up here. Records. Each one has about 20 or 25 in them. And these are books. It's books. So now we're still in books here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of books, and then we have the 2 rows of the records. You can see now we've walked down a little ways. Here we have more books, and there's some clothing, and we've got skates, I believe, up there. So, and then if we just walk down these aisles, I love going in these aisles. I love seeing this stuff all listed. Books, still at records, and now we're coming to the end of the records, and that pile you saw back there is going to be going up here. These shelves are, I want to say 9 feet high. So 9 feet high here. And here we have hats, a bunch of different hats here, thousands of hats. And then again, I got to watch everything that I show. But if we come along the outside, you can see the tow motor there and stuff, packing materials. This is like incoming stuff. Whoops. I gotta watch because there is some proprietary stuff that I don't want to show. I just walked around the tow motor. These are the bay doors here. So this is where incoming deliveries are coming in. Here we have 45s, records. These are all incoming records here. And there are more. We've got some books and stuff, more records down here. You can see that's all getting organized. Here we have bubble wrap that just got delivered. And I believe these are CD pallets, Gaylords. And this is all incoming inventory that has to be listed back there. I would show you the center, but we have some things going on that we're not ready to release yet. So everyone, with that, thank you for joining me today. It's going to be an exciting series. I appreciate you all, and have a good weekend. Let's crush it. Let's do this. Take care.